My people perish for lack of knowledge. So let's talk about the kidneys, kidney disease, and African American, Black American people, heavily melanated people. This is for you. So I'm kind of getting tired of being in these forums where they talk about kidney disease, and specifically the lupus forums that I'm a part of. And I get people in there who are telling us about kidney disease. And let me tell you about kidney disease. And kidney disease, despite the advances in science over the last 20 years, well, let's just even reduce it to the last 10 years since we had the COVID blip. Over the last 10 years, kidney disease has increased from around 15% of the population to around 35% of the population. And that is even with the advancement of medication that has been pushed out to the community, especially the Black community. So let's talk about the fact that in 2014, Farxiga, the medication that was used initially for diabetic patients, was also later used to show that it was supposed to support kidney health. But then there was a lawsuit that came out around 2017 against Farxiga, because what was it doing? It was causing kidney damage, and it was causing other side effects such as gangrene, and there was a class action lawsuit about it. But nonetheless, my people perish for lack of knowledge, right? So that medication is still on the market to this day. Despite the lawsuit, it is still being prescribed, and people are still taking it and still having side effects. But what I want you guys to know, as heavily melanated people, the number one population of people who are on dialysis are heavily melanated people. The number one population of people with kidney disease are heavily melanated people, right? Most of the time, we have more than a 14% difference. Some other minorities are kind of close, where we're like 20-some percent, 30-some percent in different areas. Other populations have lower numbers. And yet, we're being prescribed the medications and things of that nature. So, let me put my scientist hat on, because I'm a shaman and I can tell you a lot of different things from a lot of different perspectives, starting with the fact that let's remember that science was woo-woo at one point. And what they know in science is not from studying us. Most science and most experiments are done on animals, and they're done on volunteers, and then they're done on the ones that they're kidnapping. But most of these studies and these results are not a reflection of our genetic makeup. Let's be clear on that. We are different. If we were not different, they would not have had different rates for us for the estimated glomerular filtration rate for all these years. They just changed that in the middle of the pandemic, right? We are not the same. And I can tell you this because this has been my industry, my bread and butter for 33 years, okay? Now, the kidneys are impacted by a lot of things. The kidneys are impacted by hormones, specifically aldosterone. The kidneys are impacted by steroids, corticosteroids, that you are sometimes given for a multitude of different issues. The kidneys are impacted by the pancreas, which is the real reason why diabetes exists, insulin resistance exists, and this is why diabetics normally have kidney failure. It's a whole cycle. The kidneys are impacted by the liver, which puts out enzymes. Your entire body is an enzymatic process. It is one energy exchange after another energy exchange. The kidneys and the liver and all those things which impact circulation directly impact the heart. The kidneys impacted by if you have certain autoimmune disorders that attack by forming antibodies. But the majority of the black people, the black population experience with kidney failure is a high salt sensitivity. And historically, those of us in the South, that's our diet. And if I tell you that if you have to put salt on it, you probably shouldn't eat it. Most of you will stop eating everything, even watermelon, because y'all know we salt watermelon too. So let's talk about aldosterone. Aldosterone is a hormone that basically, short answer, not complete answer, regulates the kidneys. It tells the kidneys whether or not it should absorb sodium, retain water, or release it. That's basically its job, right? It is impacted by the adrenals, right? Now, there's a system, the RAS system, where the aldosterone and is impacted. You have adrenocorticosteroids, you have angiotensin and the conversion of angiotensin to angiotensin 1. You have a whole little system that takes place. And at the end of the day, this aldosterone is going to tell the kidneys, hey, why don't you keep that sodium and that water? Because the blood pressure is low and we need to raise the blood pressure, right, in order to make the rest of life good. So it causes your body to retain fluid and salt and raise your blood pressure, which is going to decrease your urine output, decrease that portion of filtration, removing things from the blood. This is going to increase what's in the blood. This is in essence why people say the kidneys are failing, because they don't see the output items. We measure the urine, we do measure the blood, we see an increase of things in the blood, we see a decrease of things in the urine. So we say the kidneys are not functioning. Some people take that to say the kidneys can't function and you need a transplant and you need dialysis. I say, if you understand how to act on aldosterone without all the other side effects, the kidneys can function. I'll get into another video about the different medications that actually act on aldosterone, their mechanism of working, so that you can understand, because my people perish for lack of knowledge. Black people, the number one thing that we could do to immediately improve our kidneys is to reduce the sodium in our diet. Right there, you will start to improve your kidneys without any medication, without any extra diet change. If you just reduce the salt that you put in your food, if you take and say, I'm not going to salt my food, I might use pepper and whatever, but if you just do that, you will first start to make some changes. Again, if you look at most of the heavily processed food, when you look at the sodium content, it is high. You cannot go by the percentages on the back of that says sodium content, this is 30% of the daily recommended allowance. That is not for you. That was never meant for you, black person. That was not meant for you. That's meant for them. They can tolerate that. Your allowance is lower than that. I would have that just to get started. I don't put salt in any of my food. If I go out someplace and it has salt in it, that's different. But when I'm cooking, I do not add salt at all. And I'm a person who was diagnosed with lupus in 2017, who had kidney and liver impairment that from before then at least. And I am not on dialysis. And I'm a person who has helped people who were about to go on dialysis not go on dialysis. And I can tell you, if the first thing you do, if you do nothing else, is to stop eating the processed foods and reduce the amount of sodium you consume, your kidneys will be functioning better. The key is for the kidneys getting the aldosterone to function how it is supposed to function. The question becomes, why is the aldosterone telling the kidneys to retain sodium and water when my blood pressure is already high? That we'll get into in another video. I want you guys to start recognizing that you need to understand what's happening in your body in order to do something about it. I was on one of the lupus forums where the girl was talking about The doctors are prescribing her another medication, and a non-melanated person came on that form and told her, oh, just reduce your carbohydrates and it's going to fix all the problems. And that's a blatant lie. That's a MFing lie. We are not the same. And I know we want to be. I know that's why you guys do all the things, straighten your hair, dye your hair, all that. But internally, we aren't the same. We are as different as a cow and an elephant and a horse and a pig and a chicken. They are all different. We have the similar organs, but we're different. We have different requirements. The melanin kind of is part of that issue as to why we have different requirements. And I'm going to leave you with this last thing about science, because I'm a scientist, true, and I believe in science. But I want you guys to understand, for years they said there was no cure for sickle cell. Recently they've come out and said a man has been cured of sickle cell. Just because science doesn't know the answer doesn't mean the answer doesn't exist. Just because they haven't found a way to steal the answer doesn't mean that the answer doesn't exist. Yes, I said what I said. All right. I'm going to try to be calm so that I can give you this information where you can receive it. But y'all be pissing me off, because I get on these lupus groups on the different forums, and every day it's another person who's died. Every day it's another person who was on the medications who passed away. Every day. And they're half my age. And smaller than me. It's about organ health, organ function. You can live if you can get your organs to function. If your organs are not functioning, you will not be here. That's what it's about. Cut the salt out.